before is because they give us the cards, they don't tell us how to grow. They raid everybody that could grow for us, you know, and they continue to raid even the houses that are licensed. So they scare off a lot of people that may want to help us. So really, I don't see what the law is and where it comes in. All I know is that statistics really speak for themselves. I would also point out to the number of personal production licenses, which I have. Now again, of the 2,432, we have 1,692 persons that want to grow themselves. They don't want somebody else to grow, and they certainly don't want to buy the government cannabis crap. So I mean, this is something we need to look at as Canadian civilians. $25 million in 8 years, and only 2,432 people licensed. Those willing to go through the monotonous process of a 32 or 33 page application, whatever it is now, and all the other threats that come with it. And here in 2008 again, we can see how Ontario's even gotten bigger. I mean, they almost own half the pie, and British Columbia has actually gotten smaller with the supporting doctors. Again, this isn't a fair assessment of the statistics because it is only February statistics, it's not a full year. This is why the other statistics were December of 2007 only, and then December of 2008, because it gave fair game for a full year's statistics. These are not 100% accurate, however, it does give you an idea. So we're going to set my mark on there, and I'm pretty proud of that particular method because it's very hard to do. I'm not going to get into it. What I'm actually going to do is if anybody has any questions, both online, anybody with any questions, I'm open to them. And I'm also just going to kind of, continue to talk a little bit about exactly where we're at now here in Canada. Can you get a license? Who here thinks they can get a license?
Well, you need to have some sort of like medical problem, don't you?
Right. Yeah. Has anybody here ever blown out a hip, blown out a knee during soccer, been prescribed some anti-inflammatories or painkillers? Who has a bad back from a car accident? Well, there's a lot of people that qualify for a federal license, you just didn't know it.
I have a criminal record.
Criminal record doesn't apply. Criminal record only applies to the person that wants to grow for you. They're not allowed to check a criminal record. You don't have to tell your landlord that you grow. All kinds of perks to having a license. It's just the government's standing in the way with what's known as the gateway theory, the doctors. Really, I go on and on and on that nobody, I work in a place where I provide services anyway to assist people and try to get them licensed. Only I can't. Because as you see with the statistics, the doctors don't want to sign. They don't want to help. Of course they could. Now if you've got a good relationship with your family doctor and you've been with them for 10, 15 years, hey, that doctor's most likely going to say no problem, because they know it's safe. But how many of us have a doctor for 15 years in this day and age? This isn't, 1960s, we're living in the year 2000, 2008 now. So we have to look at some realities, and that the CMA with 60,000 doctors, there is 142,000 doctors south of the border, America. Okay, they just legalized in Illinois, Massachusetts, and Hawaii. Decriminalized, I should say, at the state level, not federal. Now, we have to ask ourselves, with 142,000 doctors in the American College of Physicians, why does the Canadian Medical Association, with only 60,000 doctors, question them, who are saying we want a right to be able to prescribe medicine? Okay, we want a legal waiver to protect us, so we don't get sued by these patients. Because there's nothing in the pharmacology books, because the US took it out in 1943. They took cannabis sativa out. But you'll find drugs like Sativex by GW. You'll find all kinds of drugs in there that Big Pharma's already on. There's a monopoly going on, people, and it's the big brothers moving in and Molson Cannabis is moving in. And unfortunately a lot of the activists who have died and are continuing to fight on the front lines or have been jailed often don't get the respect they deserve, because this is an ongoing battle. And though, I have this conversation with people online, I've had 30,000 views on some of my movies, and I've had a lot of conversations with people in America who seem to think, what, trees are legal for you guys in Canada? And you gotta understand, it's very frustrating for them to not fully understand that there's only 2,400 plus licensed in Canada. But yet, and estimated with Health Canada's own stats, 400,000 to, or I think it's 500,000 to 1 million users. So, anyway, I'm not going to continue going. I guess we don't have any questions. Yes?
No, 4 minutes.
Oh, 4 minutes. Okay. I guess we don't have any questions directly. Okay?
One question is that is there not a legal challenge going on right now for prairie plant system not to sort of have a monopoly? Aren't there sort of some kind of laws about monopolies, right? So they shouldn't be able to sort of like run a monopoly. They have to allow for competition, so, you know, why aren't they allowing?
Well,
You know, like
again,
this
this
to
is what
govern.
Stayer struck down in the carousel decision, and,
Well, yes and no. Health Canada in the drug patenting process does allow for companies to create a temporary monopoly over a drug. I think it's 17 or 20 years. Actually, I'm doing some research on this right now. They have the authority to do that after the patent's up, then it becomes something that other people can copy the patenting process. At this point, Prairie Plant Systems has essentially the patent or the best standard operating procedures on growing cannabis, right? They own that procedure, right? Not necessarily the strains, but they own the process, which is why they won't share that information with people that have licenses to grow, because Health Canada does not own the process to grow the plant. Actually, Prairie Plant Systems owns that as a patent. And that company has been bought out 40% by Cannasat Pharmaceutical Company, and the contract has been put up for renewal or for tender. Prairie Plant Systems had it for 5 years, it's been renewed a couple of times. That actually violates government law because they're not allowed to just constantly renew contracts. They have to put them up for tender and have at least the appearance of a public process.
Yeah, that's what.
Although, in this case, you know, the patenting process and the process to tender government contracts kind of conflict with each other, because the way Health Canada works is that, you know, they can't just, you know, give the patent to another company. And so, you know, there is a conflict of law, and Health Canada is just, you know, playing into the hands of the drug companies in that way.
and
Sure.
on the note of kind of drug companies, again, with these same packages came these bills that they like to keep sending us, and we're just saving for whenever the case comes up. And then, of course, there's the many times that we've appeared either in the Globe and Mail, my partner and I, and one of our neighbors who all live in one place, who've been cut off from the federal supply. So again, relying on stuff, and of course, being in other local papers, battle for Bud. These are different times where we went to war, in my opinion, over the issue of Prairie Plant Systems, and I'm glad that they've lost their monopoly. I'm glad that they're losing their.
Well, they haven't lost it yet. These are assumptions that I've made that it's going to Cannasat, but it will, honestly, it's just one monopoly to another, in some sense.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. We also gotta keep in mind that they did threaten to phase out our Prairie Plant, or our personal production licenses, when they found a reasonable supply, which is what they thought Prairie Plant Systems was, a reasonable supply.
Maybe I'll just even tie up the last minute with what I think will happen in the next year, because in particular, not only are there some court cases that could strike down more sections of Health Canada's regulations, but there is the, because of the lack of quality, but also the lack of choice. They only have one strain there that they have people get access to. As I mentioned, Cannasat's bought 40% of Prairie Plant Systems and would be able to contract from Health Canada to provide this product. Cannasat's been working on different cannabinoid-based medicines. I think plant-based medicines like Sativix, but Sativix, well, they call it sort of plant-based because it's got 2 cannabinoids. They extract the THC, they extract the CBD, you know, using different, you know, processes, and then they put that into an alcohol spray. I would argue that's not as sort of plant-based medicine as it could be. But nevertheless, I'm quite positive, though the contract hasn't been given yet, that Cannasat will take it over. They'll offer maybe 3 strains, and that way Health Canada will not only have the appearance of being democratic and not having a monopoly exist, when, as I said, the patenting process, you know, by definition, you know, gives people temporary monopolies. So they'll try to make it look like they're, you know, being open to more than one company doing it in that way, but they'll also get out of some of the other court decisions which are putting pressure on them to have a higher quality of product that compares to what is available in clubs like mine. Thank you very much, Jason. That was really good.